want you to imagine going into a school, meeting friendly staff on the front door and signing into reception. I want you to imagine being shown to a room, setting up for a lunch club and hearing the excited bustle of young people gather outside. I want you to imagine that you have the opportunity to share with young people how God knows them amazing. Nothing surprises them and He loves them beyond words. I want you to imagine the emotional connection on young people's faces when they comprehend this for the first time. I want you to imagine the same young people walking into a church youth group for the first time, a little bit apprehensive but making friends and hear about the wonderful God that we serve. I want you to imagine the same young person going on a faith and football residential, where they see their faith and sport connect in an amazing way. You see them physically stand up taller at the amazing news about God and see them given a Bible for the very first time. I want you to imagine the day when they openly profess about their faith, that God is real and there's no turning back. This is the story of one young person from the Coveringham area where we're in partnership with St. Paul's. Now I want you to imagine that we don't go into schools. We don't tell young people about the good news of Jesus, where lives aren't changed and they don't go into church, where they don't openly profess with tears in their eyes that they've met an amazing God. The reality of youth ministry is that we have a short amount of time to be able to tell of this life-changing God. The reality of youth ministry is that 66% of all Christians come to faith under the age of 18. The reality is there is a decline in churches employing youth workers. And the reality is that Swindon Youth for Christ are aiming to reach every young person in Swindon with the good news of Jesus. The reality is, as an organisation, we've been running for 70 years. And the reality is, we need you more than ever. Churches, we need you. Individuals, we need you. And Swindon, we need you. In 2020, we as an organisation have a deficit of £20,000 because we've chosen to go without grants that would stop us professing faith. The question we need to ask ourselves, both as individuals and churches, is do we value this organisation? Do we value it enough to stand with it? The second question is not whether we can afford to give, but whether we can afford not to. Over the past 5 months, we've stood with families when their children have been tragically groomed into drugs gangs. It hurts when our young people go missing. And why does it hurt? Because we miss them, because we value them. But more than that, God values them. Tragically, our churches are losing hundreds of young people, and they either go unnoticed or we feel helpless to do anything about it. Swindon Youth for Christ choose to do something about it. Swindon Youth for Christ choose to stand in the gap with those who need it most. In 2020, Swindon Youth for Christ is celebrating our 70th year when we're praying for 70 young people to come to faith. But that can only happen if we're still here to share the good news. Therefore, will you stand with us? Financially, we rely on the donations of our supporters to sustain us.
Prayerfully, prayer is the powerhouse behind our organisation, and we wouldn't be effective without it.
As an advocate, I challenge us to take the good news of God to everybody.
And as a volunteer, you can come alongside us, or we can partner with you to take the good news to every young person in Swindon.